out when we actually do it. All right, here he is.
I gotta tell you, this last half hour has been quite invigorating.
It usually is.
All right, so yeah, we're live now. Finally, we had some technical problems, but we worked past them because that's what we do. So hello everyone. This is the third episode of the Invisible Gamecast, brought to you by Invisible Gamer. My name's Gabe Gurwin, and we have one face you've seen before, Seth Scott down there.
Hello.
And then we have two new people. So Tristan is our latest writer who just joined the site. Say hi.
Hello.
And we have a guest this week, actually, Max Parker from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so if you're unfamiliar with the show, basically we're going to run through a bunch of the biggest gaming news stories of the week. We're going to have a little feature this week, which we'll get to into near the end. And we're going to talk about what we're playing and all that sort of stuff. But let's jump right in. We had a lot of news stories that we covered this week. The first one, Tristan actually wrote. So this was yesterday, I believe, Battlefield Hardline leaked, I guess. It might have been on purpose, accidentally on purpose, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But the thing I saw, though, was that trailer was actually 6 months old. I saw, I guess it was an anonymous dev said, that trailer was actually made 6 months ago, which is kind of a lot of lead up to E3.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I understand that it was probably made a while ago, but 6 months seems a long time. But they did use the Omaha code name in that trailer. So I don't, how long has that been the working title, and when did they change it over to Hardline? I guess.
I was wondering whether it was Nebraska actually. For a second, I was like, this game takes place in Nebraska. They're robbing corn, and then I realized my mistake.
It did look rough. Don't you think?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I guess it just. It looked, I don't know, it kind of reminded me of Dead Rising for some reason, the way that they had the graphics and stuff, but I don't know.
It was shot like an intentional trailer, but then like the look of it, the graphics, textures and everything, didn't look final.
So now I went to the website, and it seems like they took some of the info down that they had on the main page. But from what we had before, and from, I guess, the Battle Log update, and Tristan wrote this article, it's going to be on PS3, PS4, PC, Xbox 360, and Xbox One. And it's going to have the kind of cops versus robbers feel, and the multiplayer modes will include heist, rescue, hotwire, and blood money. So a lot of people have made Payday comparisons already, which I think is fair.
Maybe. I don't know. They seem to have a very different feel to me. And I'm not even partial to Battlefield at all, so
yeah,
like
I mean,
a bias kind of thing.
To me, the aesthetic kind of reminded me of that mixed with that movie End of Watch. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah, it reminded me of it. I've never seen it, but I thought that exactly when I saw the single player stuff.
Yeah, it's a really good movie actually, but I don't know. I was one of those people. Everyone loved Payday 2, and I tried it out, and I thought it was just really, really rough and unpolished, so I couldn't get into it. But
yeah. It's one of those things that's just fun with friends, really.
Like, I was trying to play it on my own.
Oh yeah, okay. Well then, it won't grab you if you're just playing alone. It's a camaraderie thing.
And then of course, EA and DICE said that Battlefield 4 support will not be taken down because of this announcement, which should go without saying with a game that's out for 7 months at this point.
Yeah, at this point.
That's it. And still doesn't work?
Still definitely needs support, that's for sure.
Ugh.
It's funny that we're going to be hyping up the next Battlefield in a week here in E3, and the current Battlefield still doesn't work properly.
Yeah, it's almost like, the nerve they have to do something like this. Obviously, they don't really have much of a choice now that they put a bullet in Medal of Honor. They have to, but that fills the gap. I'm excited to see what Visceral does, though. I like that developer.
I love that developer. Everything they make. I even love Dante's Inferno.
That was a weird one. I forgot they made that.
Yes.
I don't know. I played a little bit of Dead Space 3, and I couldn't get into it at all. I don't know. It just...
It's not as good as
Dead
2
Space is great.
or 1, but I still like 3. I like 3 a lot, actually.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about 1 was it was seen as like the anti-Resident Evil 5 when it came out because it was actually still going for the classic core. And by the end of it, when those games came out, they were like almost the same game, just in different settings in terms of going for action.
Right.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep the horror theme going for the length of a typical game for like 10 to 15 hours. That's really difficult. So it kind of has to transition into action.
Mm-hmm.
So
Although they did it a lot better than Capcom did with Resident Evil 6.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's another rumor is that Resident Evil 7 is going to get announced. I guess that makes sense. It's been, what, a year and a half since the last one?
Yeah.
But they
it
better
sold
read
well.
that. Yeah, it sold well at first, and then I was
at
surprised.
launch.
I saw that game had dropped to $30 within a couple months after it came out, compared to release around the same time that we're still at their original price point. But I don't know. I just went back and played Resident Evil Revelations. Have you guys played that game?
No, not yet.
Game.
I played it on the 3DS with the CirclePad Pro,
Yeah.
and that game does so much right. It's just so frustrating that their main number entry in the series just became a bloated mess.
I am glad they released a console version of it, though. It was still
I didn't go back and play it again because I already had it, but
right.
Yeah, the Wii U version's pretty good. I have that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have an old writer of ours, Nathan, did a big piece, the case for the Wii U with that game, and it seems like it was a pretty solid port too, and it makes sense because there's a lot of map stuff on that.
Sure.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I think it was a great port, if not better in some ways, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And Tristan, you can talk about this a little bit more because you wrote the article for us as well. You wrote a couple this week. PlayStation is going to be coming to China, and we have some more details on that.
Yeah, I guess so. China lifted its ban on foreign consoles. I don't know, what was that?
A couple months
ago. Yeah, and so Microsoft announced pretty shortly thereafter that they're like, hey, we're gonna bring Xbox One there. Nintendo had that marketing term they had a while ago that they were gonna bring devices for emerging markets, and then now Sony, not even publicly, they filed a suit, not a suit, I don't know. They filed something with the stock exchange in Shanghai, which has the free trade zones, and it looks like they're partnering with the, I believe it's the OPCD in Shanghai, which kind of monitors gaming content and stuff there, and looks like they're going to be bringing PlayStation stuff there. It doesn't specify at all what games, what systems, and in what forms.
So a lot of stuff is going to get censored there.
Well, like I mentioned in the article,
movies.
Yeah, what I mentioned in the article is that, I mean, don't expect a GTA coming out in China or something, legally. From what I heard, that these things have been around in China illegally for a while, but obviously Sony wants to sell them legally because they make money off of that. So,
sure,
makes sense.
It's kind of. Have you seen the movie? Well, I'm sorry if you did, because it's horrible. But the Red Dawn remake from a couple years back.
I have not.
No.
You'll notice that they never say the country that the enemy is from with the people on camera because they changed it from China to North Korea and post.
Right. I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think something similar will probably happen with some of the game, unless they're just banned outright. But that is a market.
Fallout 3 won't come out there.
What's that?
Fallout 3 won't come out there. It's all about the Chinese new.
I wonder how they'd feel about I mean, they're never making a sequel for it, although I think a lot of people wish they had. But a game like Jade Empire that takes place in a very previous sort of China period, if they'd be okay with that sort of thing.
I'm not even sure I'm familiar with that game. It sounds familiar, but I don't know.
Jade Empire was the project that BioWare worked on after KOTOR.
Yeah,
okay,
that's a really big cult fan base.
Yeah,
right.
it does.
That's where I've heard it.
Okay, so I think that's about all we have on that. Yeah. There was an SNL joke. This must have been close to a year ago when this stuff kind of started getting emotion. They said you can play your Xbox and your PlayStation after you finish making Xboxes and PlayStations. It's so ridiculous. They've been making them there forever, but they can't.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a bummer.
And this shouldn't.
Think about.
Yeah.
We don't like to think about where our electronics come from.
Yeah.
Even my GBA SP, it says made in Japan, and that was about the last thing I think I owned by Nintendo that's actually made in Japan. This shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone, but we have a lot of PlayStation stuff to start this off. But Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare is going to be coming to PlayStation, and they had a little hint at that with it was a Sly Cooper mashup thing they did.
Yeah, and then they also tweeted out, it's awesome. They tweeted out an image of Fat Princess crossover and then Ratchet and Clank, and they all look great.
Yeah, I love that kind of launch imagery. That's like such a great nod to Sony.
Yep.
I wish they bring back Grass Effect, that whole thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
People thought that was a real game when they announced
Yeah.
when they had that stuff.
I cannot wait for this because of Vita Remote Play for PS4.
Oh.
Yeah, that could be really fun. It doesn't seem like it'd be a game that's too.
Perfect for Plants vs Zombies. Garden.
Yeah, this game. I was just gonna say, when it came out, I don't have an Xbox One, but the game looked. I really had no interest in it, and then as I saw footage of it and some input from other people, it seemed just like a lot of fun, and they really nailed the kind of online multiplayer with just the Plants vs Zombies skins, basically. And I'm excited to get it on PS4. It looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, me too.
It is.
Yeah, I didn't get it at first just because I guess there were some other games coming out then, and I just kind of said, oh, I'll get it later, and I never got around to it. I was waiting for the price to drop a little bit more, but yeah, I might actually pick it up now. Not sure which system though.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it has a good. I was gonna say hopefully it has a good, because some of those games, if the online, especially in online games like that, if the community starts to die out, it kind of gets hard for it to keep its value for playing online exclusively. So hopefully
that game's online only, so they kind of have to.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully there'll still be enough people playing it. Go ahead, next.
When these things get announced for PlayStation, you run into the PlayStation conundrum because you'll be like, oh, it'll come out for PlayStation Plus for free in a couple months. I'll just wait for it, so you don't pick it up when it actually comes out.
Yeah, that new Sly Cooper's coming out next month.
I bought that for full price so long ago, and I still haven't even opened it.
That's actually a good segue. That's what I had next on here. So, PlayStation Plus is getting beefed up, and this is great to me. I never had a PS3. So basically every month it's been like 4 PS3 games, and it's like here's Smart As or whatever for your Vita, and whatever new indie game came out on PS4. So they said now for every month it's going to be first Tuesday of the month, I believe, you get all the games that they have offered, and it's going to be 2 PS4 games, 2 PS3 games, and 2 Vita games.
That's great. For
PS4, the first batch in this new one they're going to be offering is Trine 2, and it's a pixel junk pixel junk shooter.
Yeah.
Ultimate or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
PS3 gets NBA 2K14. I was really surprised they swung that because that's not that old at all. And like we said, Sly Cooper, Thieves in Time. And on Vita, you get Terraria, which is cool. I've never played that actually. And Mutant Mudds Deluxe.
Some good games in there.
Yeah. Terraria is like cool. Have any of you played it?
No, isn't it like 2D Minecraft?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Not my bag, but people love it.
I played Trine 2 at launch when it came out, and it's phenomenal. It's a great kind of puzzle fantasy game.
Wii U version of that at launch too, wasn't there?
Yep. Yeah, and I played it, I think, on PS3 when it came out, but they released a Wii U director's cut, I think, after a little while.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a really good game. I was actually really hoping the new Worms game that comes out next week was going to be the PlayStation Plus game for June, but I'm going to buy it anyway, but I was hoping it was going to be free.
Which Worms game is that?
It's called Battleground. It was just kind of announced. Well, it was announced in winter, but it was just given a release date like a week ago, and then I love when they do that when they say it's coming out in like 2 weeks, not like 6 months.
That's nice. Yeah.
And I've been playing Worms forever, so I'm pretty psyched. And it has supposedly the last couple I didn't think had great online components, and they just kind of tweaked with some of the internal stuff for the game, which I didn't like. But this one has just like solid online, and the gameplay is just kind of classic. So I'm excited for it.
Good.
It's a series I've never really gotten into, and everyone says I should.
I got into that in college. Yeah, big time.
Yeah. If you have friends to play with, it's great. And one of my favorite, actually, quick side note, but the 3D version that came out on the GameCube, which is extremely underrated game, is phenomenal. It's very rough around the edges, but in terms of just like they nailed it. It was a lot of fun.
That's good. Yeah, that gameplay is fun, and it's a little better for like local co-op, but it's online still fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so next, this is some news that kind of came out of nowhere. Lego Batman 3 Beyond Gotham.
Yeah.
Those Lego games, they'll never stop. Now it's cracked one of the top franchises ever.
I haven't seen that. They've been making them for a long time, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
I love them. I mean, especially if you're into the series or whatever it's portraying. Like for me, the Harry Potter Lego games were just phenomenal fan service. Like they're just a blast to play, and the best Harry Potter games because most of the Harry Potter games are just horrible.
Yeah.
Except for those ones. Those ones are great.
Yeah. It's funny. I was actually we were cleaning out our garage the other day, and I found Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone for the PC.
I like that game.
Yes, and I do too. I needed to finish it because it's really hard, or maybe I was just really young. One of the two.
Probably
it would have been like 7 when that came out. But yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed that game. The thing about the Lego games, I think, is that for the most part, I think you really enjoy them if you already like the franchise because they do all play very, very similar to each other. Maybe not so, a little less now.
They're all the same. I mean, they're very similar. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one I really got into was.
Yeah.
What's that?
Go ahead, Max.
They make more tweaks than they do like really overhaul like the gameplay. Like Marvel Heroes was the best in the entire series, I think. I loved that game. But then you get some misses in, like actually this is going back a little further, but Indiana Jones was okay.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Yeah.
Lego City Undercover was the one I got and I loved that game.
Oh right, yeah, that's like GTA style.
Basically, yeah. Or like oh god, what was that series that Sleeping Dogs was based on?
Oh, True Crime.
True Crime, Streets of LA. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yep.
I like those games.
And then the Lego Movie one I hear isn't too great. I hear it's okay.
I didn't want to play that because it takes place after the movie, and I never saw the movie.
Because I thought it was the exact same plot, and that's why I didn't get it. Because I went and saw the movie, which was great, and then I thought it was like the same exact thing. So I was like, I don't really.
Oh really?
I'm like, it's a movie game, but it is the Lego game, so they kind of just slap it on anyways. It's a Lego game, but I just wasn't into it.
Yeah.
$60 for that. I'm like, nah.
It seems like a cash-in.
What's that?
I was say it seems like a cash-in game. Like it's like featuring Batman and all these other things, and I was like, well, they just did a Marvel one. They just did Lego Undercover, which was like Lego Universe, and I mean the movie looks hilarious. I haven't seen it yet, but the game seems like a pass for me. But,
yeah, I kind of want to go back and play a couple of them, and I hear the newer Star Wars ones are better. I hear Lord of the Rings is okay.
I want to play The Hobbit so bad.
Yeah. I mean, if you like the series, they're just like fun because it's like recreating and you get to play.
I won't say it's great, but there was a Hobbit. I did a review on this for CGR Undertow a couple years ago, but there was a Hobbit game, the GameCube Xbox generation. It was just based on.
Oh, it's so good. I have it. And it's literally sitting on my shelf right there right now. So.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah, Two Towers game was also good, which was really different from what you're talking about. But the Hobbit one was cartoony, and then there was the turn-based RPG, Third Age.
Yeah, I like that game a lot too.
That
was pretty good too. That was around the same time. But yeah, this one looks really interesting. Like we said, Beyond Gotham, it takes place in space, and Batman's wearing. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a bat spacesuit, but he looks like a robot, sort of.
Weird, yeah. Did you guys play Batman 2? Or Batman Lego 2?
No, I have the first one, but I've only played the first level, so...
I hear the second one's a lot better.
Yeah.
Second one, that's when they got into like open world stuff, and the open world stuff is really bad. Like,
oh, really?
Driving around, there's like a radar that's horrible, and there's icons everywhere. It's a mess. But Marvel Heroes, have you guys played that one?
No, I want to.
The only one I own is Undercover. That
is the best Marvel game since Ultimate Alliance.
Wow.
No joke. That is an awesome game.
That's a claim.
Oh.
Yeah. That's good.
Well, speaking of the Batman game, though, at first I was like, this is ridiculous because Batman in space. But then I realized it's Batman, and then I got super excited about it because I'm like, Batman in space, that's great. It was like a quick flip, like from like, that's stupid, why would they make a video game about a Batman in space? And then I realized, oh, why wouldn't they make a game about that?
I was thinking, it upset me a little bit, I guess. I was thinking, because Troy Baker is the voice of Batman in all of these Lego games. But then, why do they have Will Arnett do the voice in the movie?
Because Troy Baker is not a name. Yeah, exactly.
I guess. But there's so many names there. It's like you have freaking Morgan Freeman and Will Ferrell and...
Also, I guess Will Arnett isn't that huge of a name, really, honestly.
In voice. He does a lot of voice acting.
That's true.
And Troy Baker does the Joker in the Arkham games, right?
That's true. And he did Robin in the game before he did the Joker in Arkham City.
He's also Joel in Last of Us. He's in everything now.
No, I love Will Arnett and Troy Baker. It's just I I wish they.
Yeah, Troy Baker's in absolutely everything.
He's in Infamous. I mean, he's like
Yeah.
literally in
Infamous,
Infamous.
he's in Bioshock,
He's Nolan North now.
Yeah,
He's
Nolan
Nolan.
North was in The Last of Us 2, and a lot of people don't know that.
right.
Mm.
Yeah.
He was David in that. And if you haven't gotten to the end, I won't tell you who David is.
Yeah, don't.
Okay. But yeah, I thought it looks really cool. I guess there's going to be 150 playable characters on
Yes.
console version, 105 on the Wii U and Vita and 3DS versions. This game is
Wow.
which is
I didn't know that they relegated the Wii U capabilities to the handheld.
Oh no, excuse me. I think I misspoke. Yeah, I misspoke.
That slip there.
Yeah, the Wii U has 150. That's just my
Okay,
subtle.
Good.
No, excuse me. The just the handheld versions of 105. But it looks pretty cool. I guess it's probably going to be the linear formula that they use for the handheld games, though. It's kind of a gimped version of the game.
Right.
But I mean, it's cool anyway.
Yeah.
And now this is something I was really excited to see, and I'm sure Max was too. Wolfenstein selling pretty well, actually.
It's great.
I was worried about this because the last game didn't sell well.
Right.
And that's why we didn't get another Wolfenstein game for however long.
Yeah, I hope so. And this is a new studio. It's great to see. Like, I mentioned in this post on the site that you can read. Basically, like, I was worried because this game was so good, but it was like a single player only storyline. I thought it might go the route of Spec Ops: The Line or something like that, where it just sold terribly, because that's not what people were interested in. But that's not the case. It looks like.
No, yeah, I guess people still. It also helps that there's just not a lot to choose from on next-gen consoles.
Yeah.
That helps a lot.
Totally helps a lot.
Yeah. And so
it's good, though, I think, that it's on everything, though. They still put it on last gen.
Right, yeah. I don't even know how it looks. I don't know how it looks for last gen. I haven't heard or seen anything.
I've seen a couple, like, Digital Foundry things. I mean, it doesn't look bad. That being said, the next-gen version doesn't look extremely next-gen. It looks like a kind of up-res port.
It looks like a PC, yeah, like, because 60 frames per second constant, and that's the big thing.
Yeah, and it's not a bad-looking game by any means, but
no.
The thing, though, and this, like, of course this happens, though, with all the talk about, like, how well it did, and it, I think, was the second biggest launch in the UK so far this year, behind only Titanfall, and I'm sure now Watch Dogs, since they said that it was the biggest first-day launch for a Ubisoft game ever, but Wolfenstein has been pirated 100,000 times so far on PC.
That's rough. I'd like to see how that compares to other big games.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's a bummer.
I want to see how it compares to how many people bought it.
Right. Yeah.
And we'll talk more about PC ports and stuff a little bit later. Jonah's not on the show, but he put his voice in my ear to make sure that I would talk about this with Watch Dogs, and we'll discuss that. But yeah, I don't know. You reviewed Wolfenstein 2. What were your favorite things about it?
Favorite things about Wolfenstein. Well, the story is fantastic, and the characterization is also great.
Which no one expected.
Right. And it's a cool just throwback to to Wolfenstein, really. Just a first single player game that doesn't get into co-op, doesn't get into multiplayer. It's so refreshing. I can't even remember the last game that did this, that you pick up that's a first-person shooter that you don't have to, like, plow through the story and then be like, oh, what's the multiplayer like? And then it's usually disappointing.
Yeah.
But that never happens anymore. Like, Titanfall is just multiplayer. So this is like the anti-Titanfall, which I like Titanfall. Titanfall's fun. But it's
for more reasons than one, I think maybe that's why I thought it was so similar. The two games I was comparing it to, of course, Bioshock, and I think a lot of people made that comparison with the audio and stuff, and then Metro a little bit.
Yeah.
Just that long. Metro wasn't super long, but single-player experience. But like you said, the characters in this game are actually really good. Like, they're funny. BJ, not so much. He's kind of super boring and gruff, or not gruff, but he's just like
one-dimensional. Yeah.
Which timeline did you pick?
I picked, and I cannot remember their names for the life of me, but there was the guy
Fergus and Wyatt.
What's that?
Fergus and Wyatt were the two.
Fergus and Wyatt, and I can't remember which one I killed or saved. I killed the one who was, like, super antsy and scared.
Okay, so you killed Wyatt.
Yes, that's right.
I saved Wyatt because I didn't want. I was like, you're young and you're really scared. I'm not going to do this to you. You can live. Most people seem to go with you, though.
Right, yeah, because you don't want someone who's scared in the front lines fighting for the revolution here.
Mhm.
I want a seasoned vet, but you get to it was kind of spoilery, but you talk to the seasoned vet later and he's all mad at you.
That happens too if you pick the other one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, both times they
No
say
one-
you should have picked the other one. He's like, you made the wrong. I was like, oh crap.
I wish one of them would be grateful.
Yeah.
Like,
He's like if you pick Fergus, he says like, I'm so old. There's always so much left. You should have picked the young blood. And if you pick him, he's like, I'm useless. You should have picked him. He knew what he was doing. Like, come on. The other thing though that I didn't notice, and I wish I did, you in that Fergus timeline had a very annoying character who she's schizophrenic, I think. She's talking to herself a lot, and she makes fun of you every time you see her in the base.
oh
And
yeah.
she's not in the Wyatt timeline.
Huh.
In the Wyatt timeline, it's Jimi Hendrix. I think it's just supposed to be Jimi Hendrix. His name is Jay, and he plays an electric guitar. And at one point, he's playing the Star Spangled Banner on it.
Wow.
And he's awesome. So
Cool.
yeah,
Is that the only character that changes?
I think so. Yeah, they just switch.
Huh.
And there's a cutscene because of that switches, and you'll know what I'm talking about near the end of the game. Something switches. So yeah, it was really cool, and his cutscene there is phenomenal. Moving on, this just came out today. Quantum Break. I don't think anyone really expected this to come out this year, but it's been delayed till 2015. I think the thing that's a little bit more surprising though is that we're not going to get gameplay of it at E3. It's going to be at Gamescom instead.
Yeah.
In August.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
I thought we'd see it at E3.
Do you think there's like a calculated reason for this, or do you just think it's not ready?
I just think it's not ready.
Not ready.
Yeah, they want everything they could possibly have for the Xbox One. They want that out and ready. And they would force it out if it was ready, but it's not.
Yeah. So Sam Lake talked about it a little bit. I don't think he's given away too much, like this kind of detail before. Basically, he says the game will be about the heroes, and the show will be about the villains, which is really cool. I was wondering how they were going to work that.
That's one of their exclusive shows for.
It was just a little video.
Oh, just a video. Oh.
Yeah, and I'll put the link in the description to our story if you want to see that later. But yeah, it didn't give too much info. Like a little brief montage of gameplay, basically the stuff they've shown before, and said we'll get our first real look at gameplay in August at Gamescom. I'm really excited to see this because it looks like the best next gen game yet.
Yeah.
Infamous Second Son is very close to this, but it's also just doing something very ambitious. Hopefully not the same route as something like Defiance.
Yeah, I was going to say the
Defiance
TV
sucks.
show. That's also a different scenario, I think.
It is, because one was an MMO, which was destined to fail, I think.
Yeah, and those are easy to get wrong in the first place. And then this seems to be taking. I mean, if they're delaying it, if that's any indication, they're taking a little more time with it, and that I'm fine with that because I don't have an Xbox One, so I'm not really raring for it yet. But it does look good. Well, part of me thinks that the delay, at least the optimistic viewpoint I want to have, is that wasn't Phil Spencer saying, it's all about games at E3 and talking about like all that stuff. Part of me just hopes that the Halo announcement thing of the Halo 5 title and just some of the stuff they've kind of gotten out of the way, like the Connectless Xbox, and then now this means that they're going to focus a little more on newer stuff or stuff we haven't seen anything of really. That might not actually come true, but that's what I'm hoping is the case here because he had made a point of saying we had to kind of cut stuff from our however long our presentation is. So hopefully that just means that they have more other stuff to show.
Yeah, I mean their show last year wasn't bad.
It wasn't.
There was so much stuff hanging over their heads that they didn't address.
And it was overshadowed by the Sony conference later in the day.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
like and then what was it? A couple weeks later they are not even.
Reversed all their stuff.
It's like, why didn't you do that before? You had an opportunity to do it in front of everyone, and now no one knows that you said that stuff.
Right. I just want them to have a plan. I want them to seem like they have a plan at E3. Like, it doesn't seem like there's any plan to go along with axing the Kinect. Like, that system's going to be a disaster to navigate if you don't have a Kinect.
And
they
they said
can
there will be
fix
some
that
sort of
with
UI
UI.
update.
Yeah.
But-
So there's no word of that. I mean, they're constantly coming
That's
out with little tweaks, but like, Oh, Skype is snappable now. That's nice, since that was the first thing you showed us about the Xbox One back when it was announced. Don't get me started.
There's a lot of stuff, like, even with PlayStation. I don't think we have that thing that they talked about where you're going to be able to like give the game to your friend to get you past the tough part yet.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, I forgot that was even a thing.
I know a lot of people did because they haven't talked about it since the announcement last February.
What's the streaming, the game streaming company?
PlayStation Now.
Twitch?
Yeah, but no, the company that they bought to like get them
Oh,
on.
Gaikai.
Gaikai, yeah. That's supposed to be all that stuff. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, and so I think they just kind of put that into PlayStation Now, that sort of technology.
Right. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. It's just it's kind of like you said this stuff, and I know a lot of stuff's happened since, but we're still getting that, right?
Maybe.
I just want PlayStation Now. Since my PS3 died, I'm not gonna buy a new one.
Yeah, you've gone through a lot of those, haven't you?
Yeah, I sent it back, and then it died again with Beyond Two Souls.
God,
Yeah,
what a game.
it's a bummer.
I love that game.
Die.
I like that
I haven't
game.
played it.
I'm not
We all know how Gabe feels about what's his name?
David Cage. I make fun of David Cage a lot, but
We all know that you are not a visionary and you do not get to talk bad about him.
okay.
You don't like Heavy Rain? Oh, you never had a PlayStation. You never got to.
I've played a bit of Heavy Rain though. My friend had a
Heavy Rain
PlayStation.
is so good. Heavy Rain is so good. Check him out.
It's great.
Yeah, it's great.
The voice
Yeah.
acting is bad, but everything else is great.
No, not even everything about that game
Hey son.
is great.
Hey, son. And it's like,
Okay, I'll give you that. That part is bad. That
and
part is
there's
bad.
weird accents. They all have weird accents
Because they're all French, and they're not supposed to be French.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But they're playing Americans. It's weird.
I like it. I didn't even notice it.
Like
Norman-
even
Norman
in
James.
Splinter Cell Blacklist, they weren't French, but Graham is very clearly Canadian in that game.
Yeah, it's bad.
We're going to the CIA safe house. And, at least in Watch Dogs, like there's one French character, but she's obviously supposed to be French. They're not trying to mask it.
Oh
So
no,
far.
the other what's his name that you meet in the woods?
Oh, I haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, okay. Well, he's not supposed to be Canadian. That's clearly still Chicago, but he has a Canadian accent.
Uh oh. Okay.
It's like a Trevor thing in GTA, but not intentional.
Yeah, it's funny with that because like beyond just them like modeling Trevor, actually all the main characters just after their actors, you can tell that was something they're like, instead of us having you do an American accent, it'll just be easier to write this into the story.
Yeah, it was a great part, man. Whenever he interacts with people, and he gets so mad about his accent. People make fun of his accent. So good.
Oh gosh, I really hope he gets more popular because he did a little TV spot. It's on YouTube. I don't remember the name of the show, but he plays like this creepy handyman.
Mm-hmm.
He's basically just playing Trevor, but like a more soft Trevor. It's so good.
He was really popular back when that game first came out. For that month.
Yeah.
He was everywhere.
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone even remembers the name of the other two actors, but
Right.
No.
I can't actually. I'm trying to think of his last name. It's Steven something.
Og.
Right? OGG.
Yep.
Yeah. So this also came out of absolutely nowhere today, and people rejoiced because it's really good news. There's going to be an adapter for the Wii U for Super Smash Brothers. Yes, for the GameCube. GameCube controllers.
That is the most backwards, amazing news I've ever heard.
That's the best way to describe it too.
Yeah.
It's the best news.
We shouldn't be this happy about being able to use controllers.
It's the
13
best
years
news
ago.
from 2002.
And not.
No, we should be happy. It's the best news for Nintendo fans.
They're not even really good controllers for
not
anything
good
but
controllers.
Smash.
They're not
That's
precise. They're not. The shoulder buttons are bad. Like.
Yeah, they're weird. They're like squishy and then they click.
Right. Yep.
But I'd
But
still rather
it's-
use them than the Pro Controller.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
It's just that
Yeah.
layout, man. I can't get used to it for Smash.
That controller is better than both the Xbox One controller and the DualShock 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it's not for
Yeah.
Smash. It's the buttons. It's exactly where they are.
What do you
Yeah,
mean?
that's on the Smash
Why?
controller.
What's wrong with it?
But I mean, I'm so used to the GameCube layout for Smash Brothers. It's kind of muscle memory that switching to anything even slightly different like that. I don't know.
You had to learn. Did you have to learn new buttons? Were there any
No.
buttons from Brawl to Melee or Melee to Brawl?
No.
No, they were all the same.
It was all playable with the GameCube.
Yep, I switched.
Well,
Or
yeah.
I never ever played that with a Wiimote.
No, there's
it's so bad.
there's no new buttons.
Hmm.
Just the
Yeah.
tripping mechanic.
which
they
is gone now.
Right.
Yeah.
That's gone. Right.
I could not be happier about this announcement because it's something that I really wanted like a Wii U specific controller, but this is actually even better because it'll be less expensive, I think. But it's Nintendo finally listening to their fans, because I feel like in the last couple of years they've kind of were like, we're just going to do this stuff and not listen to the real fan input for certain things.
With Brawl, at least, it was so big, and Sakurai said, they kind of had to make it a more casual experience because of the market. But the thing that I think is funny, though, is a couple of days ago, Powered, I think it's Performance Design Products is the name of the company, PDP, announced their
Fight Stick.
Yeah.
Fight Pad. Fight Pad is what it was.
It was basically just a GameCube controller that plugs into the Wiimote. But now I'm thinking they're probably like, what the hell?
Yeah. Right.
This is better because
it is better, and that's why I think they're probably pissed off about it.
Yeah, because it's actually wired into the system. Because the Fight Pad would still be wireless using the Wiimote. Mm-hmm. And so I know I'm not in this boat, but a lot of hardcore like tournament Smash fans don't like to play with Wavebirds or anything unless it's wired in.
Right.
And so this is huge for that, but it's great that Nintendo's doing this and making something for and I like Brawl better than Melee, and I played a ton of both. But it's polished and it's the character list, and like I'm not one to go back and just hark on the old games, but I'm psyched for the new one, and I'm just glad that they have an option available to play with the gamepad or the GameCube controller. That's all.
It was a necessary move because you can only connect one gamepad to the Wii U. So was everybody going to go out and buy new controllers?
Well, they said it supports two, but there haven't been any games that actually do that yet.
So you can't do it yet. They said they would eventually be able to do it, but you can't do it right now.
Right. And so the other option was the Pro Controller, which you mentioned, but I think a lot of people are in the same.
I will be playing with that.
Okay.
I don't know. What are your beefs with it? The battery lasts for like 90 hours.
My only beef with it is that it's not the GameCube controller, and for Smash, I need that exact layout. It's too ingrained in my memory. At this
point. That's the same way for me too. Once I switched over all my stuff from my Wii to my Wii U, I've been playing Smash with the old classic controller, and I can do it just fine with my friends that I play with, but it's still every time I play it, I'm like, I wish this was just a GameCube controller, but I'll still play it, and same thing with, if they didn't release this adapter for the GameCube controllers, I would still play the crap out of the new Smash 2 and be okay with it with the Pro Controller, but having the options available is just a brilliant move for Nintendo. Yeah, they're going to sell a ton of these adapters, a ton.
Yeah, but now they need to re-release the controller, because I've gone through so many controllers just because of Smash.
It's going to be funny to see if GameStop goes against their policy. A couple years ago, they stopped selling all GameCube stuff.
Right.
Maybe they'll start selling just the controllers again.
Well, when I first heard this, I thought they were developing a GameCube-like controller for the Wii U, but it's literally just you can use your controllers from 2 generations ago for this, and I was like, okay, that's awesome. That is so Nintendo. I'm in.
Yeah. Well, the PvP thing was what you were talking about, but this is a separate thing.
Oh, it is? Okay. Never mind.
Yeah, well, the cool thing, too, is Nintendo, any chance they have to, make extra crap that you have to buy, they're just going to do it. And it's great. And, I don't mind doing it, but I love that they're still doing that. Yeah. Even if it just works for one game, they're just going to make peripherals and just sell a crap load of them.
What was the name of that accessory for the Game Boy Advance that used cards?
Oh, the e-reader?
Yes, the e-reader.
Oh, yeah.
I still don't know exactly what that did.
Go watch Did You Know Gaming's thing. They did a really good video on it. Well, I had a little portion about it.
Mm.
That was a goofy thing. Or, God, they had a lot of those too. I mean, it made more sense, but they had those. I guess they were just different game packs, but they were like episodes of TV. You got one episode of all grown up Rugrats on your.
Well, in Japan, the e-readers actually caught on, and for the the Super Mario Bros. 3 remake for the Game Boy Advance, there were 2 whole levels or worlds that came with the packs. You got the cards and you got whole new worlds of levels, which is great. It's a great idea. That it was like DLC before it could be distributed on wirelessly over the internet and stuff.
They were even more ahead of the curve on that with the Saddle View thing.
Yeah, of course, but just with cool cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For some
funny
reason,
how-
I now hate DLC. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's funny how backwards this seems, that they were the first company to do so much stuff like that. And even online, like good online on handhelds, and it just
Yeah.
ended, RIP, but
They had ideas for the Game Boy Color to do stuff with, connect to. The Game Boy Color was going to connect to cell phones and stuff. This is all from this video that I watched. I'm not an expert. I literally just watched like 2 days ago, and so all this information is still ingrained in my brain. But they did all kinds of stuff like that. The 64 disc drive had like,
DVD.
yeah, you could connect to the internet on that, do all kinds of stuff. It's crazy
Yeah.
for the time and for Nintendo. That
Yeah.
and then you look
hasn't
like
kinda-
the GameCube, you could play Phantasy Star, I think.
yeah, there were like 2 games.
And Double Dash.
And wasn't Kirby?
Was Double Dash online?
Yeah.
Was it really? I did not know that.
They had the LAN thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's actually the only Mario Kart game to come out, besides Super Circuit, I guess, that I don't own. I rented it.
Man. Double Dash is amazing.
Yeah, I rented it and I loved it, and then I never bought it. I don't know why. We just
I would go to,
when
I would go to
Blockbuster
battle
was a
for
thing.
that game.
Yeah. Yep. It's great.
The quick thing, real quick, back to Smash Bros. Is we'll be interested to see if they release a pack-in now for the Smash Bros. With the adapter at all, because there's also the debate if they're releasing the NFC figures for Smash as well, and it seems like that's the first game that Nintendo's talked about, not confirmed, but talking about that it's going to use the NFC figures. So we'll see if they release like a huge, maybe.
A Smash Bros. Bundle with the Wii U would be great.
Oh,
with
man.
figures,
that's a given.
adapter.
Yeah.
But I mean, with all that stuff in it, not just Smash Bros. And Wii U, just like all
Yeah.
of that is.
But for
that would
people
be
who
great.
already want to
I
have a
hope
reason
they-
for their purchase, it's going to
I
be
just-
just as much like a necessity as Kid Icarus's stand was, I think.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I just hope they release a good collector's edition or special edition with everything packed in, because
That'd be great. Yeah.
I'm going to buy it anyway, and I'd rather just get it all at once.
Mhm.
Right. Yep. Can't wait. Smash Brothers. I've played more Brawl than I have any other game by far. So much time sunk into that.
Yeah.
What was your character, Max?
It was Snake, and then my group of friends banned him. And then it was Kirby, and then I got good at Ganondorf because my friend said he was the worst character in the game, so I proved them wrong, and I got
Wow.
really good with
He is
Ganondorf.
the worst character. in the
Peach
game.
Yeah,
is
he
the worst
sucks.
character in the game.
No, I am good at Peach.
Ugh. No, not Peach. Pichu.
Oh, well, that's Melee.
Well, that's Melee.
Was it?
Yeah,
Who
it's
was it?
Melee.
Was it Raichu?
They took him out.
No, there wasn't.
No, right.
In Brawl,
They
there
took
wasn't
him
a
out.
Pikachu.
Oh, I'm wrong.
Yeah. It was Peach in Melee, but that was like tail end of Melee. I got really good with Peach.
Yeah.
In Melee, I was mostly Roy. I was the obnoxious one, and then I was Pit usually in Brawl, or Ike.
Nice. Yep.
I'm so happy Ike's coming back.
The best part of Melee that they need to bring back is the Terminus stage, and that's all I want. That's all I
They need
want
to
for
bring back
Xbox.
Mewtwo. Why is Lucario still in the game?
Yeah.
Because he's the cooler fox-like Mewtwo. He's like a fox guy.
I just wish they'd give the moveset of Lucario to Mewtwo, because Mewtwo's
Yeah, I know. That'd be great. I'm on your side on that.
because
Yeah.
Mewtwo kind of sucked,
Sure.
but he was a cooler Pokemon than Lucario was, even though Lucario was
He's like
actually
a man. He's like a dude. That's why
Yeah.
he's the coolest Pokemon. He's a buff, kind of lean-looking guy. That's why he's the coolest Pokemon.
Gosh. I feel bad now looking back. My dad took my brother and I to see Pokemon the first movie,
Oh, it's so bad.
and he thought that it was over after the Pikachu featurette.
Uh.
he got excited to leave, and then nope.
That movie's not very solid, except for the part that makes me cry every time.
What, where Pikachu's single tear falls down?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Great.
So now, this company's gotten pretty bad about doing this, but Ubisoft has another PR blunder where
Yeah.
they got a bomb squad called in Australia, which I believe it was either Australia or
Yeah.
New Zealand where it happened before. So
I think it was. Oh.
Yeah, it's good PR.
So Watch Dogs, I guess, they had a suitcase that was delivered to a reporter. It just said, check your voicemail, but the reporter did not have a voicemail to use, and this is from an IGN article. And so they called in I guess they tried to open it they tried to enter like a PIN number on it. It was taped on the top, and it began to beep. And then they called in the bomb squad, and it contained Watch Dogs, a baseball cap, and a beanie.
Wow. Viral marketing, I guess.
That's a cool
the
press.
extreme.
Yeah.
I just imagine the bomb squad like saying, hey, does anyone have a PS4?
Yeah, there's a video game. Wow.
We're gonna have to spend 8 hours trying to solve that this is a bomb, but they're just gonna be playing the game.
Yeah. I think the biggest blunder in that was assuming that the reporter would have a voicemail set up because it's 2014 and no one should use those anymore.
Yeah, for a game that's trying to be as high tech.
Yeah, like right, exactly. That's supposed to be high tech. Check your voicemail because it's 1999.
I cut your landline. What are you gonna do now? You're completely cut off from the outside world.
Put in this VHS.
Yeah, check your fax machine for a message.
It's like an alien that are supposed to be hundreds of years in the future. They use the layout they have for the computers and stuff.
Yeah.
Like this is what the future looks like in the 70s.
Well, speaking of Alien, the new Alien game that looks like it won't be a pile of street trash, looks like that's so great that they did that though, because in that game they're so faithful to the movie that they're making it look like that. It's not like cool screens; they look like 70s. Vision sci-fi computers, which is great.
To be fair, the collector's edition for Aliens Colonial Marines came with like a piece of fax paper that had the holes along the side and everything.
To be fair, that doesn't matter. The game was street trash, so that's all that matters.
I'm not
Worst game ever. Not
The
ever.
new one looks good though.
Yeah, it does. And I think that developer is.
It looks scary.
They're much more capable of.
Yeah, it looks great.
Because
I'm a
they'll
huge
actually-
fan of Alien.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit with Max, I guess specifically. Just we have you as a guest. This is the first time that we've done this. Just tell them, I guess, a little bit about what you do day to day.
What I do day to day, I cover video game news, all things video games for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. I've been doing that for what's it been now? 4.5 years. Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
That's all you do?
Yeah.
You don't eat in your sleep or anything?
What's that?
So
You
like
don't eat or sleep or
run me
anything?
through like a basic day. What
Yeah,
you do.
give me what you do hour to hour, and then I'll take notes, and then it'll be great.
Well, I mean, there's more news than reviews. It depends on the week. If it has a big review, like Watch Dogs, like I had to crank that review out. It's just me, so I don't have a team of people to be like, you cover news today, well, I go review this.
Mhm.
So if the big news, if I always have to be available to change with whatever's happening day to day. So that means covering press releases. It started out with more news than it is now because I'm a one-man team. I can't compete. Well, first of all, news is everywhere, so we don't get a ton of traffic by just news. And I just can't keep up with sites that have a whole staff. So big news I cover, moderate to smaller news I have to pass on because it's just I can't keep up with it. But what really, I mean, reviews drive traffic and interest as do editorials and opinions and stuff like that. So I cover those two.
Is Pittsburgh Post-Gazette a newspaper or a site?
Newspaper. It is the
biggest.
okay.
Pittsburgh. It's Pittsburgh's largest daily newspaper.
Okay, it sounded like a newspaper, so that's what I was like.
Yeah, no. I guess right. I should have assumed nobody knows it because nobody gets a paper.
Well, no, it's not that. It's just that. So your stuff goes in a physical paper.
It
is what I'm
does. My
asking.
stuff is printed.
So-
We reviews. News we don't print because it would come out days later, and by that time it doesn't matter. Plus, the people who are getting a paper don't care about like news for video games. That's what I was gonna.
I was gonna ask about that because how did you get any kind of feedback from like video game stuff from appearing in the newspaper, which most people probably don't get for video game stuff?
Yeah, I mean it's not informed feedback, but it's more like a hey, I didn't know about this, and now I know about this.
That's cool.
Interesting.
It's I want to know like how you pick which pieces I guess to cover in there because I know like I believe it was Grand Theft Auto 5 got a review in the actual paper,
yes,
and then you switched to the star system for that because it was in the paper.
Right.
But then your Watch Dogs review I saw still had the number score. How do you go about deciding like which one goes in?
Actually, that's an interesting question. I have to write 2 reviews for each game if it goes on print. So the big games go on print, so I have to write 2 reviews. The print review, we always have to do a 4-point scale because that's the Post-Gazette scale. And the print version is a dumbed-down version of a review you'd see online. Like I can't use any lingo. This is something I had to develop over years after I started. You can't use any lingo because the people reading the paper don't understand any of the gaming lingo, and you just have to really keep it basic. and explain in layman's terms why this game is good or why this game sucks. And then the online version, and I also have to keep it to 600 words maximum. The sweet spot is like 500, about 500. It's like 15 to 17 column inches, which equates to about 500 words. No more than 600, which is really hard for a game like Watch Dogs, which has just a ton of content.
Yeah. And that was what we had to do for video scripts, Tristan and I at CGO. I think you were probably around the same mark, right?
Yeah, towards the tail end of me being there, they kind of opened up. You could be up to like 6 minutes or something like that, but I never really took advantage of that because
it's tough. It's tough. It started out like impossible. I would battle with my editor and be like, I can't do this. This is ridiculous. This just isn't. There's too much to say, and she's like, well, just think of it as a test.
It's a game in itself.
Okay, right. So I did, and that's how I handle those print reviews. And then online, there's no limit to what I could say. So that's when I can say, because the people who are reading it online obviously know a little bit more about video games than the people reading it in the physical paper. So I consider my online reviews my true reviews, and I hate the 4-star scale. I don't think it makes any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't at all.
Right, it's something that Ebert came up with, and I love Ebert, but it's not good. It's not a good scale.
It's not. No.
Even Ebert didn't like it, but it just got towards the end, or
That's
actually in the middle of his career. But it just got so popular. The 4-star scale got so popular, and he got so popular that the Chicago Sun-Times didn't. We were like, no, you're not changing.
And movies use it in general. On the I guess the other side of that same token, though, is the ridiculousness, I think, of the 100-point scale.
Yeah,
like,
that's
there's no difference between an 8.9 and a 9.
Absolutely. And there's no difference between an 8.8 and an 8.7 or an 8.6.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
How about the ridiculousness of scales?
Are you anti-scores?
No, I mean,
we were at a site for a long time that didn't have scores, so it was all about what you said. But I think
I do like that. That should be how it is. I know that it can't be like that because that's asking too much of people to read. So I understand that you got to have a number or a thing at the bottom. It's just, I don't know. I haven't had to do it yet, so I'm fine. But
it is. We've never tried that, but studies. I mean, I've seen studies from other sites who don't have any. And I'm also guilty of this, who don't have any ratings or scoring system. It's just text. And I know what I was saying, what I'm guilty of. If I'm curious about a game and I see a review,
right down to the bottom.
I do that too. But then I usually go back and read it. But I don't know.
I don't.
I won't read it if it's a game that I'm reviewing, because I don't want to see what the text says.
Well, that's true. That's good. But
I'll never read reviews if I'm reviewing a game before I review it.
Me neither. Yeah.
Never. But I actually like scores. But there's actually, this just happened. It's actually the first time it's happened. Was with Always Sometimes Monsters, the indie game, PC indie game.
Oh yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, and I wrote a review for that, and it was just such a different game, and my I don't want to get too deep into this because it's an indie game and no one cares about them. And I have the traffic to prove that because I just put the review up today and it was just bombed. No one cares. So reviewing indie games are like a passion. You have to
people do care about them. Then you just got to find the right people.
Right. There aren't many of them. It's just a small group.
I guess the newspaper's audience doesn't really care about
the
indie games, so that might not make much sense.
And the sports games through the roof.
Right.
Sports games.
But especially in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pittsburgh. Yeah, if sports went under, the paper would go under. Sports rule the paper. But anyway, about this game, I didn't know how to score it because it was so unique. So I just wrote a review and didn't score it. So, but I do like scores.
I understand them and I don't hate them. I'm not like bring down the score system. It's just it always feels disingenuous when in the end I'm like, okay, I gotta put a thing here, and then I haven't had to experience this yet because I haven't been doing things for a long time at all. But then it comes down to reviews are their own separate thing, but then you come down to, well, my favorite game of all time, or one of my favorite games is like a 9, and I'm giving this a 9. Do I like those the same thing? I know you're not supposed to review things like that and think of it in that terms, but I do. So like it's just kind of it rubs me the wrong way. I understand why.
It can be tempting to do that, especially with games that you've played recently.
Right? Yeah, it's like
I like this more than that, but it's. The way I see it,
be like that.
Like, what were they trying to do? What kind of an audience is this for?
Mm-hmm.
and you can't really go into someone's head. And I've had disagreements with this with people who will not be named. That you cannot. I don't think it is possible to review a genre of a game that you genuinely do not like and give it a review score based on like what you think that person will like it. You cannot do that.
Absolutely.
That's kind of weird. Yeah.
There's I don't review MMOs because I just don't know enough about them to write an informed opinion, and I don't genuinely enjoy them.
If you had me review a Final Fantasy game, maybe not the new one because it looks a little different, but if you had me review the last Final Fantasy game, you said, okay, what score do you think I'll give this? 2. I hate it because it's Final Fantasy, but I'm not going to review it because of that, because there are people that like that game.
Right. Yeah. There have been times that I've had to write the big ones that are that we kind of push because they get a lot of interest are games based on movies, and generally those suck.
Yeah.
But I have to play through them, and I have to look at them objectively.
Mm-hmm.
So, sometimes they're better. Like, what was the last one? Like I said,
Spider-Man?
Spider-Man, that game sucked.
Yeah, that's
I'm trying to think of the last good one. There was one good one that sticks out in my mind, but not too much.
Peter Jackson's King Kong, the video game.
That was 9 years ago. No, there was another one. God, what is it? Well, one that was pretty good actually was the first Captain America game.
Sure.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it was kind of like Arkham.
There was a Wolverine game that was better than the Wolverine
Yes,
movie. Yeah.
that's what I was thinking
The
of.
Origins or the new Wolverine?
Origins.
Okay, good.
That's what I was thinking of
Wolverine's good.
because it was made by a pretty good developer actually. I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, I can. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. And then there's games like X-Men Destiny, which they had a lot of time
Oh,
on with.
God.
It was Diac, so
Yep.
that happened.
Yep.
But I guess this is a good segue talking reviews and stuff. So possibly the biggest game of the year, not if you're talking Bobby Kotick, but Watch Dogs came out, 2 days ago now?
Mm-hmm.
By the time you're watching this, unless you're watching it live, it'll be 3 days ago. So Max, you've already reviewed it. Our review will be up hopefully mid-time next week. I'm chugging away.
Hurry up, Gabe.
Yeah, it's a long game. So you loved it, obviously. You want to go into a little detail about it?
Yeah, I loved it more than most critics out there. Gabe, I don't know if you've read any reviews or if you're trying to stay away from them.
I'm mostly staying away. I saw like the Metascore, but that's about it.
Right, yeah. So generally, what is the Metascore? Do you know right now?
PS4, it's 82.
Wow, that's higher than I would have assumed because I didn't read any reviews that were 9 or higher.
I think Polygon had a 9.
Polygon gave it an 8.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. US Gamer gave it a 10 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah.
I like US Gamer a lot.
Yeah. But besides that, I haven't seen too many. I know, I think Game Informer gave it an 8.5. The lowest I saw for it was Giant Bomb. They gave it a 3. But
oh yeah, right. So and what I've kind of discovered with Watch Dogs and discovered kind of about myself is that I'm not sick of open world games at all. That might be, no, it's not my favorite genre because I love fighting games and things like Smash and Street Fighter, but I love just sitting down and just wasting time in an open world game. And Watch Dogs does enough things that are new to make this feel fresh. It's not a GTA clone. This Watch Dogs genuinely feels like it's something new.
Right.
Yeah.
there are some elements that feel a little cherry picked, like the news reports talking. This is more specifically for GTA 5, like the news reports coming on after you've done something, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're right. The hacking mechanic, it's not just like a little wrinkle in the GTA formula. It fundamentally changes how you play the game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the hacking. The game is built around the hacking mechanic. You're constantly using the hacking mechanic.
It makes the marketing a little bit disappointing because they say hacking is your weapon, but then they show the commercial. It's all shoot, drive, drive.
Yeah, I said in my review that hacking. It's good to see that hacking is a main weapon when every other open world game is based around guns. But guns still play a large role in.
Yeah, there's plenty of them.
Plenty of them. Yeah.
And like more than I thought. I think there's more than GTA.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And they actually have names for them this time instead of just assault rifle or military rifle or whatever in GTA.
I hate that. I hate it when they do that.
The 416, the ACR, which are two of my favorite real life guns actually. I'm a bit of a military nerd, but Yeah, I'm really enjoying. The only thing is, I think maybe sometimes there's a little bit too much stuff. Almost like I'm trying to get through the campaign, and I'll find like 5 of those alerts saying that there's a crime in progress in the course of a couple minutes.
Hmm. But there's only 20 you have to do total. That's
Right.
not many.
Right.
Right. So I just cleaned those up last night, and there's a lot. You're right, because there's the AR games on your phone. So you bring out your phone, and then they have these like virtual games that like change the world around you, which are like little mini games. Then there's street games. There's like a guy who has the 3 cups, and he puts a ball under one of the cups and moves them around. You got to get like that's one of the games.
Chess.
I played chess for an hour last night. I played poker because it unlocks a motorcycle to clear out a table in poker. I played poker for 2 hours. Like, it was a real game of poker. Like, it wasn't dumbed down at all. Like, it was slow. It was...
I thought I was going to get to play poker.
What's that?
I said I thought I was going to get to play poker in that one campaign mission.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I thought so, too. I was like, oh, 2 birds, 1 stone, and then you don't play poker.
Yeah. It's,
but, like, yeah.
You did that in Far Cry, actually, too, now that I think about it.
Right. And I have a lot of money because I'm in the end game now, so I played there. You can play low stakes poker or high stakes poker, so I went to high stakes. I didn't want to lose all my money, so I was like, spent the first half hour folding. It was like real poker. It was slow and boring.
Yeah. And then the digital trips, that spider tank one is amazing.
Yeah, that's definitely like a Saints Row kind of nod, I think. They get ridiculous, those digital trips, which are like basically a guy sells you drugs, and then you have like a weird vision.
Yeah,
that's exactly what happened.
They were all developed by Ubisoft Massive, the guys working on The Division right now. But yeah, it's crazy. Like, you climb up all the buildings using this thing. It feels like a completely different game. The controls are actually better for the spider tank thing, I think, than the main game.
Yep. Those little things are cool. And then, like, things I like about open world games is just you can approach like the same side missions so many different ways. Like, there are these sets of side missions called criminal convoys that it's like a 3-car like gang that are making their way across the city, and you have to stop them. And you can try to like ram them off the road, and then they'll chase you. Or like now, I'm just standing in the middle of the road, like Joker style. Like, hit me! And then I throw remote mines like in their path, and then I detonate them with my phone.
Yeah, I did that for a mission. I won't say like story specifics, but there's a guy who's in, I guess it's a car dealership, and he's stuck in there, and you're trying to get to him. And every time I tried, I'd walk in, and the people would immediately shoot me. So what I ended up doing is I put an explosive near the building and then hid, blew up the explosive just to spook him, and then waited for them to all move around.
That's cool.
Yeah.
The other thing that I've been doing, and I don't know, so far this hasn't gotten old for me, I love the online invasions. When people invade my game.
So good. The online modes are so good, and they're surprisingly good, because I expected them to be crap. But the online invasions are cool. Like, it's like cat and mouse. Someone's hiding in this crowd, and they're hacking into you, and they're trying to blend in, and you're just running around frantically with your phone out, scanning faces to see who the hacker is, and there's a timer.
When they invade, they look like someone else, right?
Yep, they don't look like Aiden. And when I did it the first time, I wasn't sure it was a real person or another tutorial, and then I saw that they had Joel for The Last of Us as their avatar. That person just sucked. They were shooting at everyone but me, and I was like just moving in a circle, avoiding them. And then someone invaded my game. I chased after them, and I thought they were going to get away. And then we're driving down a long stretch, and I see the little blue flashing thing saying neutralize, pull up the blockers right in front of them, crash their car, and then shoot them when they get out.
Yeah.
It's like awesome.
It's so, and like the race modes, which are, races are kind of boring, but then when everybody has the ability to hack stuff, like chaos.
That's the thing I wanted to talk about a little bit, because Michael and Jonah, who have both been playing also, they both hate the race or the driving physics. I'm not crazy about it either. I think it feels really loose.
It's not as good as GTA, which is like perfect.
It feels more like GTA 4 than GTA 5, where it got good.
Yeah. So the bar's high for that, and this is this Ubisoft's first attempt at driving?
Driver.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's true. Forgot about that.
Who I thought worked on the driving for this. And
really?
Yeah, and there's like the rumor that said that like this started as a driver game, and then it kind of emerged from there.
Huh.
First driver
so it
sucks,
should be
by the way.
better. It should be better than it is. It takes some getting used to. Like once you're used to it, then it's not so bad. But it's just not as well made as GTA 5.
And focus helps, at least in single player, with slowing down that sort of stuff. Which you actually, Michael, I guess, wasn't. No, Franklin had in
Franklin.
GTA.
It's not nearly as good as Franklin's slowdown.
Well, you have so much less of it too.
You have less of it, and when you slow down as Franklin, your handling got better. Like you could turn on a dime.
Yeah.
It's
Like
just slower in this.
it's everything slower. Yeah, it's really dumb.
Yeah, for shooting, it's kind of annoying. I had the SR-25 semi-auto sniper out in one fight, and I slowed it down, and I pulled the trigger like 7 times before it fired a shot because it was so slow.
Right, yeah, that happens. Yeah, it's bizarre. But that's another weird thing about the driving in that game is you always, because GTA has conditioned us, I was always looking for a way to shoot stuff, like even when I was driving, but you can't shoot and drive.
Like
your phone is your only weapon when you drive, and there's a learning curve there. But once you figure out like what you can hack, what you can use to your advantage, it's a blast.
And it's so much more useful than a gun is in GTA when you're in a car.
Yeah, way.
I just unlocked the exploding steam pipes. I haven't used them for anything useful yet, but I'm just blowing up civilians basically.
Yeah, steam pipes. Yeah, the traffic lights, barriers, spike strips, bridges. Those are the best way to get away, because as soon as you start lifting a bridge, nobody will cross it, which is weird.
The thing that I'm having trouble with so far, I don't know if this is just me, the scanning, the criminal scanning thing they do when you get away sometimes, where they like scan for you.
There's like a bloom, like a bubble, and you have to get out of the circle.
And so you can jam comms for like a second.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that I've had a lot of trouble with.
The cops aren't as annoying as they are in GTA 5. The cops were relentless in GTA 5.
Yeah, they lose track of you quicker, and you can get away easier, and they won't.
Yeah, they won't hound you.
Yeah.
Choppers, if they stick a chopper on you, that gets kind of tough. Because you can disable a chopper when you're on foot, but you can't do it when you're in a car, which is something I'm sure they'll fix in the sequel, which is probably going to be next year.
I don't know. I mean,
great.
Maybe they've delayed this so much, but yeah, I don't know. They'll have to hire a lot more people if they want to have both games coming out every year.
They'll do it, like 8 teams for Black Flag.
Yeah, but doesn't Ubisoft already employ everyone in the video game industry?
Pretty much, or they'll buy them, like Red Links.
They have so many people, dude. Like, it's insane how many teams they have working on each game. It's like...
Right. If the Watchdog credits are any indication, that's everybody.
Any credits for any Assassin's Creed game is annoying. It's terrible.
Yeah, there's the press kit. The last page of the press kit had a picture of all the employees on the roof of the building. It looked like a small city.
Can you skip the credits?
You cannot skip the credits.
I appreciate the people that worked on this game.
And the
Far Cry 3, you can skip the credits. And Assassin's Creed 3, you couldn't.
There's 2 parts of the credits. There's one part where like there's newscast rolling.
Oh, it's like a movie.
Right, and then there's like a small scene. It's not that small of a scene. There's an actual scene in between there that you control, and then like the big chunk of the credits come.
And then like the black screen credits.
Wait, do they have the babies listed on this one too? Do they have all the babies born during development listed too?
Oh, I left the room.
Okay. I'm sure they did.
Good choice.
Yeah.
It's like, we have enough people to start a small country with these new children born.
Yeah, and based on the success of Watch Dogs, I wouldn't put it past Ubisoft of putting like 10 teams to make sure a Watch Dog comes out every year after this.
They've been on an annualizing kick lately. They've kind of kicked that into
It'll be interesting to see how different they can make it, though. If they want to, like, I don't know, like, what characters around yet. I haven't finished the game, but like with AC, we say the luxury of jumping around to different characters and different locales and stuff. And I guess
the premise of Assassin's Creed opens that up for them.
Yeah, it does. I mean, and the premise itself is dumb, but that gives them the luxury to do that. And with this, it seems like maybe it'll be a little bit tougher for them to just jump around like that, unless they just want to make them all standalone stories, or just keep the same character in Chicago. But people are going to see that as just being an iteration sort of thing.
Sure. Yeah, I think, and it would be easy to make fun of their annualization strategy, but
it works.
Keep getting better. Like Black Flag was so much better than 3.
3 was horrible though in comparison.
Black Flag is an amazing game. Like,
yeah, it was a rebound. I mean, because like
sure.
1 was okay, 2 was better.
Bad. 1 is not okay. 1 is
No,
bad.
1 is okay.
Oh man.
It's the worst game in the series, I think. But it's,
well, yeah, clearly, but
2's better. It's still got problems. Brotherhood's my favorite. Actually, no. Black Flag's my favorite now. Brotherhood was my favorite.
Yeah.
Revelations was like basically the same thing as Brotherhood plus the hook blade, and then oh god, Assassin's Creed 3 was. Ugh.
I haven't played 3 or Black Flag, so I need to do
Black
that.
Flag is awesome.
Yeah, Black Flag looks much more. 3
It's
attracted me at first because of all the history stuff.
That's why it's bad.
Really? Do they shoehorn
because
that in too much? That's what I hear.
It's basically what they do is they try to they'll be like, all right, well, we have to have these scenes from history that people know about in this game, and they don't work for video games very well. With Black Flag, they're like, people know who Blackbeard is, but they just know he's a pirate. Just put him here.
Yeah, and it's just pirate high seas romance and doing all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
there's not really romance, but
no, I mean like whatever that phrase is.
Okay. I know.
Romance on the high. I don't know. Just move on.
But yeah, what they also need to do is improve the story of Watch Dogs because the story is by far, I would say, the worst part about
it's
the game.
Pretty lame. Aiden's pretty wooden.
Aiden's basically a silent protagonist.
Is he like a cipher in that he's kind of
Batman,
just bad, or
No.
he's just lame? Like he has a personality, but he's lame.
He talks like
Batman.
Batman.
He does not have any depth. He has no depth like
Okay.
Batman or anything like. No, he's an empty vessel.
Well, because people could say that about Link, but like Link's not a lame character because of that. It's just like.
But Link's supposed to be you. Aiden has his own backstory and
right,
stuff.
that's what I mean. They try to do too much with him to make it kind of like okay. Gotcha.
I will say though that so far I like a couple of the other characters. Jordy I really like.
Sure.
And what Damien I like him too.
Yeah, the people around him are good.
But then like his sister's boring, and God, that kid looks creepy, Jackson.
Yeah.
Why can game developers not figure out how to make children not look horrible?
Yeah, it's some uncanny valley stuff
really.
going on there.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
They were bad in the Bethesda games. They freak me out every time.
Well, everyone looks bad in those games, but
yeah.
Everyone,
I was gonna make a weird joke, but then I let it go.
Everyone in Skyrim looks dead, like behind the eyes.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Who else is good in the game so far? I'm not gonna spoil beyond like who you've basically seen in trailers and stuff. What's his name? Lucky Quinn.
Yep, sure.
He's he's scary.
Yeah. All the characters around Aiden are good.
Yeah.
Aiden sucks.
Yeah, and it's so far. The other thing, and I'll mention this a lot in my review, but God, they give you no backstory at all before they like throw you right in, like how this happened.
It's so ridiculous. You zone out because it's hackers talking about hacking and like, oh no, we're being hacked, or I'm gonna hack this guy. Oh,
Yeah.
I got this from this hack.
Or
and
like
this
they say,
guy's
this area is untraceable, unhackable, yet we're hacking it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So-
Is
Yeah,
Watch Dogs like the Django Unchained of saying a word too much?
I know what word you're talking about. We're not going there.
No, but I mean the word hacker though. Did they say
No.
hacker?
Not really. No.
Okay, good, because that would be so annoying if they're like, we're hackers. Like if they literally say stuff like that, that would kill it for me. Okay,
No,
good.
it's not really like that, but it's not that they're saying anything interesting either.
Just in between.
Jordy's lines are the way he says them, and they're kind of funny.
Sure.
So far, at least, and he's not. You don't see him too much, at least so far. It's mostly through phone calls and stuff.
Mhm.
But the other thing Jonah wanted me to mention because he couldn't be here, he got the PC version of the game, and
Yes.
if you buy a PC version of a Ubisoft game, you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about that.
All right, you mentioned it. All right, let's move on.
There
Yeah.
is awesome coverage of that at actually Forbes. Their PC writer is talking to AMD because they worked closely with. There's claim they worked closely with the development team to
Well,
bring.
you got like a free copy of it, didn't you?
What's
Or
that?
was that with an Nvidia?
No,
you bought a graphics card.
I don't think it had to have been AMD because I mean they were working closely with them, and it was supposed to be like you have an extreme level of control over the graphics, and it was supposed to be super accessible, and apparently it's just crap. So the Forbes writer is doing a really good job talking to AMD, asking why this is, and then The development team is also saying why it performs poorly on NVIDIA. It's a huge cluster mess, which often happens in PC world. But
That's lame.
Yeah, I mean, and to be honest, like it's more extreme with Ubisoft releases, but that's kind of the reason why I like just sticking to consoles, because I don't have to really.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I don't have to worry about doing anything on my end. If the game doesn't work, they'll patch it so it works with my system properly.
Sure. Right.
That's true. But that being said, the people that choose to invest all this money into their PCs should get a working product and not some terrible mess that doesn't really even run right.
I guess the flip side of that is then you see something like Wolfenstein and you're like, why would they invest that much money into something everyone's just going to steal anyway?
That's also true.
But anyway, but this is going to be a pretty long episode, I guess, but it was really nice having you on, Max. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure being here.
Hopefully we'll have some more people on for next week's show and everything goes well, but we will see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yep.